Well, you can't have skillful musicians without someone creating those incredible instruments. Our next story takes us to Belmont to meet violin maker Kurt Widenhouse. He's made about 300 violins, and each one can take up to 6 months to build. Did you know there are actually 81 pieces in a violin? Well, producer Doug Stacker tells us a whole lot more.
My violin has a slightly different tone. I'm Jamie Laval. I'm a full-time touring performer, composer, and storyteller. What I'm looking for in an instrument that is ideally matched to me is one that has different tonal nuances that I can use then to help convey my creative ideas. I went on a 3-year campaign to find, the ideal modern violin. Probably tried violins from 50 different makers. Fortunately, I discovered the work of Kurt Widenhouse.
If the violin asks you to keep playing because it's fun, it feels good, and it makes you sound better. My name is Kurt Widenhouse, and I'm a violin maker. You don't know what tributary you're going to get on until you're on it, but I studied music, started playing the violin, and fell in love with that. I found out that violin making existed and that it was possible to become a violin maker. I got accepted into a violin making school, then went to work for violin shops in different parts of the country. Only great trees and rare trees can make a great violin. Every single curvature and aspect of a violin has an artistic point, but it's also a craft. It has to function under a lot of demands. If you count all the individual pieces of wood that are glued together, you're going to come up with about 81 individual pieces. My process lasts about 6 months for each instrument. 2 to 3 months in sunlight so that the wood can oxidize and become golden brown. When we're crafting the violin, I'm making decisions about every aspect to the 20th of a millimeter of what I'm going to do. You're constantly in a world of, am I making the right choices? If I'm checking the flexibility of a piece of wood, how strong are my hands today? So you're in a state of doubt throughout the entire making process.
Kurt is kind of the Stradivarius of today, really. He has that great mixture of science and art.
A famous violinist, they have demands. They've played Stradivarius violins. They've played Guarnerius. They know what great violins sound like. The sound of a violin is 80 or 90% the player and 10 or so percent the violin. Jamie Laval commissioned me to make a Stradivarius model violin. It means a lot to him, but what he's doing means equally or more to me because he's putting life into my work. I have a great reverence for the art form that it is and how it developed. The joy of creating something that will last beyond your lifetime. It's going to last 300 or 400 or 500 years if they're well taken care of. There's always something greater to shoot for than you're able to do. Maybe time will help create that. I don't know, but do the best you can and just always try to make it better.
Thanks, Doug. If you want to learn more about Kurt Widenhouse, we've got a link to his website posted along with this story at pbscharlotte.org.